Celebrate your Independence Day with Indians baseball. Coming up next on Sports Time Ohio. From the Steel City on a very warm 4th of July Saturday, it's Cleveland Indians baseball. Today from PNC Park, it's the Indians and the Pirates in Game 2 of their 3-game weekend series. Hi again, everyone. I'm Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Is it the pitching that makes the offense better, or is it the offense that makes the pitching better? Either way, they're both thriving during the Indians' current 5-game win streak. And when you look at the pitching in particular, they're giving up just a little over 2 runs per ball game during the streak.
It's been a great combination, started by Cody Anderson at his start down in Tampa, and you're going one time through the rotation. And, of course, Kluber doesn't have a win out of the 5 starts, but they're 4-0, and it's been timely hitting and key hits for the Cleveland Indians. So it's been a nice mix, a nice blend. It's going to be Cody Anderson trying to keep the streak going this afternoon here in Pittsburgh. He's 1-0. He'll be matched up against left-hander Jeff Locke. He's 5-1 versus the AL all-time, and he's 2-2 here at home this year.
Offensively, the Indians have scored 5 runs or more in 5 straight games. That's their longest stretch since September of 2013. We'll see if it continues here this afternoon on this 4th of July in Pittsburgh. We're back with the play-by-play coming up next.
He's going to Mike Aviles. Oh, my goodness, that is outstanding. Well, now he goes back to the Kip. He's doing Rayburn.
Yeah, he did.
Michael Bourne, a 2-run single to center field. The Indians take the opener. Well, we have a gorgeous afternoon today in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Lots of sunshine, a few clouds overhead. We'll be warm. Temperature soaring into the mid-80s before it's all said and done here today at PNC Park. Indians winning last night, running their win streak to 5 in a row. Tribe has closed it within 3 games of the 500 mark at 38-41 on the year. The all-time series between these two clubs is now dead even at 17-17 after the Tribe's win last night. Let's get a look at Clint Hurdle's starting lineup. It's brought to you by Toyota. Josh Harrison in the leadoff spot, followed by Neil Walker, the switch hitter. Beg your pardon. The Indians starting lineup today will be Kipnis, Lindor, and Brantley. Then it's Gomes, Santana, and Urshela, Moss, Aviles, and Cody Anderson batting ninth.
And our Northern Ohio Honda dealer starting pitcher, 27-year-old Jeff Locke, making the start. First time he has ever faced the Cleveland Indians, but he has gone 5-1 with a 2.84 ERA and 8 career interleague starts. 500 on the year. He's 4-4. He has 7 no decisions this year. And he's a guy, he's not overpowering. If he's on his game, he can be tough on the hitters, but he has to hit his spots. And if he doesn't, the Indians will have a chance to get to him and knock him out of there. Let's check out the defense for the Pirates. Brought to you by Chrysler. That's behind Locke this afternoon. It looks like this: Marte, McCutchen, Polanco in the outfield. It'll be Harrison, Mercer, Walker, Alvarez on the infield. Cervelli doing the catching.
Adam Omari has the plate. Angel Hernandez at first, Trip Gibson at second, and the crew chief Mark Carlson down at third. Both teams will be wearing special jerseys on this 4th of July holiday. You'll notice the stars interlaced between the numbers and on the front of the jersey. Also, both teams will be wearing red caps in the field today.
Yeah, it doesn't look like you're playing the Pirates when they're in the red caps. You're used to seeing them in the black. But for the 4th of July, there you have it.
Jason Kipnis strides to the plate, ready to lead it off for the Indians here this afternoon. Kipnis batting .344 on the year. 3rd place in the American League batting race. Miguel Cabrera, who owns the top spot, will be sidelined for anywhere from 4 to the next 6 weeks with a calf injury. Tigers had to put him on the DL. We're underway as Kipnis takes the first pitch strike from the left-hander Jeff Locke. Now the 0-1. Kipnis checks it's inside and a little bit low. Swings the breaking ball and it's foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In addition to owning the 3rd best batting average in the American League, Kipnis leading the league in overall hits with 108, 1 more than Prince Fielder of Texas. Hit him in the back, and the Indians have their leadoff man aboard.
Well, trying to stay inside because they were just shifting the infield when he got to 2 strikes. 3 guys on the right side forced him to pull the ball, and he went way too far inside. And gets Kipnis, looks like either right in the side or on the elbow.
I think you're right. It might have got him on the elbow. Probably doesn't feel real good. He's aboard to start now for Francisco Lindor. Kipnis, who has 10 steals on the year, gets a toss over.
It's the 4th guy that Locke has hit this year. See if they can turn it into a run, giving him a base runner to start the game.
Up and away, it's ball 1. Well, that would certainly bode well for Cleveland because when they score first, they are 26-7. Pittsburgh very similar. When they score first, they're 29-7 on the year.
Isn't it funny when you look at that stat, how many teams, when they score first, they do very well.
And you would think in baseball, scoring first doesn't seem to be that big of a deal, but it is.
Yes, it really is.
Lindor, 1 ball, 1 strike. From the right side of the plate, he's gone 5 for 26. It's going to stay foul. Lindor hasn't even been in the big leagues a month yet.
You know, you think about it, scoring first when you get the time. Now that the offense is back to normal in the game nowadays, and there's a lot of teams that struggle to score a lot of runs. You can see how you get that lead early and make them score 2 to beat you for every one you put on the board, especially when you're on the road.
Yeah, home runs aren't flying out of ballparks left and right like they
homers
used to. Lindor pops one to the right side, and that's going to fade into the seats. Count stays 1-2. Just missing. It was extremely close.
Yes, it was. Take a look at it on our Nissan pitch tracker. It had to be low because it had to play. They wanted to go inside, but if that's low, it's just a little bit low. A good pitch. He's the kind of pitcher, boy, he'd love to get that pitch.
2-2 right back to him. It gets by him. But the shortstop Mercer steps on the bag and throws to first for the double play.
First double play turned by the Pirates this year, and he slowed it down just enough so Mercer could grab it, gather himself, and make the easy double play. So the hit batter does not hurt him.
And up comes Michael Brantley. Brantley was 0 for 3 last night. He walked twice.
Nice.
Hawks kind of going with that left-handed version of Louis Tion. Well, Topper right back to the mound. Locke cruises through the first, works around a hit by back pitch, and now the Pirates are coming to bat. Bottom of the first. Now we'll get the Pirates starting lineup brought to you by Toyota. Josh Harrison in the leadoff spot, followed by switch hitter Neil Walker. Andrew McCutchen riding a 10-game hitting streak will bat third. Starling Marte, Pedro Alvarez, and Francisco Cervelli middle third. Gregory Polanco, Jordy Mercer in the pitcher. Jeff Locke bats ninth.
And Cody Anderson is our Northern Ohio Honda dealer starting pitcher. The 24-year-old right-hander making his third start. He has been brilliant in his first two, both against Tampa. He went 7 2/3 in his first start. He went 8 innings in his last start, his first career win. So this is going to be interesting to see him match up against another team. And boy, he's been fun to watch, pounding the strike zone in his first 2 starts.
Josh Harrison jumps on the first pitch, headed to the left field corner. Harrison's got extra bases. Will stop at second with a leadoff double.
And if there's any report I think that they would give on Anderson, it's been that he was a strike thrower, so be ready from the first pitch. And you can see Harrison is. And drills the ball down into the left field corner. He wasn't going to spot him a strike, looking for the first pitch fastball, and hits the leadoff double. For Harrison, his 19th double on the season.
Well, he has definitely thrived in interleague play with a hit now in 12 out of the 14 interleague games that he has played in. Now Neil Walker riding a 7-game hitting streak, 15 for 30 during that tear. Now ball right at Kipnis, and he'll throw him out. Walker moves Harrison over to third on the ground out with 1 out.
Let's check the Tribe defense behind Anderson today. It is brought to you by Chrysler, and here's what we have. Aviles gets the start in left field today. Brantley moves to center. Moss out in right. It'll be Urshela at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis at second, Santana back in there at first, Gomes catching again.
Well, it brings up Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen was 1 for 2 with a home run last night, and they walked him twice. Low ball 1.
Nice little backhanded pick there by Gomes with the man on third base. As you go through every lineup and you hear us talk about it, this is the guy you never want to beat you. And he is a terrific player. He can do it all. He can hit for power. He can run. He can hit the gaps. He can steal bases. He's fun to watch.
And a foul back 1-1. And he's been on a pretty good tear of late. McCutchen got off to a slow start, but he's now hitting 10 straight, 25 out of his last 30 games. And last night hit his 10th home run of the season, accounting for the Pirates' only 2 runs of the night.
Yeah, you see his batting stance where he sits up there and he just lulls you to sleep and he uncoils on a baseball. Very quick inside.
Since that slow start, which basically was the first month of the season, in his last 52 games since May the 6th, he's batted .351.
And that's when the Pirates started to take off, when they have one of the best records in all of baseball since early May.
Swung out and missed. Good pitch. He took a little something off, and you can see McCutchen right over the top of it.
Yes. Very good changeup. The arm speed's the same. Of course, they have never faced Anderson before, so the first time in that batter's box or the first time through, they'll get a look at him and see what he has to offer.
Missed inside. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
As big as that strikeout right there. Another changeup he comes back with after he went inside with a fastball. He follows that up with another good changeup, and McCutchen can't touch it, can't put it in play, so the man remains at third. Nice job that first time through to Andrew McCutchen. He has 2 outs now and a chance to get out of the inning. You know, Anderson went 6 1/3 innings of hitless baseball in his last start. And isn't it funny? Every day is different. He comes out today, throws 1 pitch, and they get a hit.
And Starling Marte, who was 0 for 4 last night, takes a strike. Well, we commented on Cody Anderson in his first 2 starts. More the second start than the first. His ability to pitch, not just rear back and try to throw it by everybody.
Right.
But really has a good understanding of what he's trying to do. Michael Brantley will run it down in center field, and the inning is over. The leadoff double dies at third for the Pirates, and we have no score after one. We'll go to the second inning here in Pittsburgh. No score. Yan Gomes will lead it off for the Tribe. Take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Wayside Furniture. For Cody Anderson, his ability to locate all of his pitches will be important. And just like when you're playing the Tigers, keep the guys in front of the big hitter off base.
Well, he didn't do it the first time, but he was able to get McCutchen in a big out in the top half of the first. The strikeout.
Gomes, then Carlos Santana and Giovanni Urshela for the Indians here in the second. Gomes went 2 for 5 last night with a run scored. And he starts today's game with a base hit to right center field. That's in the gap. It will be cut off by Gregory Polanco. And he holds Gomes to a long leadoff single. And that's where that speed that Polanco possesses pays off in that outfield.
Yeah, they have great speed. This is a pretty big outfield to cover as well. But as much rain as they had last night, I'm sure it's not scooting like it's AstroTurf out there. It's nice and moist. It's checking up.
It rained for,
boy, oh boy, did it ever.
a solid 2, if not 3 hours last night, because it rained for quite a while before they called for the tarp. Carlos Santana takes a strike.
It was shades of yesteryear in earlier visits to PNC Park here years ago.
You told me that was 03.
Is that when it was? The 15-inning games?
Yeah.
Okay. Seems like it was just yesterday.
Terry Francona says of Carlos Santana's struggles that the work behind the scenes when he's in practice, when he's with Ty Van Berkeley and Matt Quatraro, that's been very good. His trouble has been taking that and carrying it over into the game. He said you'll see it for a swing, but then he'll roll over or swing long, and then he's right back to where he was before.
From what we witnessed throughout the course of this year, it's so hard for him to, I think, cut his swing down. For whatever reason it is, it seems like he just gets caught up in trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark instead of taking what pitchers are going to give you. And that's staying on the baseball, take a couple of base hits the other way. Those are the ones that get you going.
Hit right at the third baseman Harrison. To Walker for 1, on to first. A double play. Pirates go around the horn for their second twin killing in as many innings. Our window system's game time temperature is 80 degrees. And a light breeze will be blowing out today. It'll help. It'll carry. It's warm. It feels a little on the humid side, 53%.
Come on, Jeff! Come on, Jeff!
Giovanni Urshela riding a 12-game hitting streak. Checks on a ball down low.
Urshela's been very good against left-handed pitching. .435 average, 10 for 23.
And that foul off the leg of Urshela as he goes down to a knee.
That'll give us time to send out a very special birthday wish today. Adley Murphy turning 1 out on the west side of Cleveland. Adley, happy birthday. Friends and family partying all day long.
Yeah, I have a hard time visualizing Murph as the party host. Carrying around little sandwiches.
Well, I could see him with the hats.
Cocktails.
Cocktails with the umbrellas in them.
He's probably in the pool right now.
He might be.
Urshela with a ground ball
There
between
you go.
third and short, and that makes it a 13-game hitting streak for the Indians' third baseman.
Get it out of the way early. He's been waiting until the latter part of the game to do it. 6th, 7th inning. He gets this one out here in the second. Except the unfortunate thing, he's going to break his streak. He's going to add another hit today.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, well, that's right.
That's a streak he wouldn't mind breaking.
But the streak, yeah, now it's 12 games and just 1 hit in every game.
So Brandon Moss, with a runner at first and 2 down. Moss hit a home run to left field last night. You don't see many left-handed hitters drive the ball opposite field out of here in Pittsburgh. And even Terry Francona said, the way it was raining last night, I wasn't sure it was going to carry that far, but it just did get out.
It was amazing it did, because there were some other balls hit. Gomes pulled one deep. He thought that was going to be a home run and made it to the track. And Marte made an excellent effort at that ball, just missing it. Yeah, that ball was smoked.
Breaking ball drops in for a strike. Moss starting to find it offensively. Had a 5 RBI game on the 1st of July down in Tampa.
He's starting to use the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to pull everything.
Liner's misplayed, but Harrison able to recover to throw out Moss. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left, middle of the second. No score in Pittsburgh. Just a beautiful day here in the Three River City, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. PNC Park, no score, bottom of the second. That's just beyond the right field seating area here at PNC Park.
Yeah, right over the home run fence up there. That'd be a poke to get it over there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a little farther, I think, than in San Francisco, where just beyond the seats, you're in the water. Here you've got that walkway to clear as well. Little tapper back to the mound, Cody Anderson. We'll throw out Pedro Alvarez, one down. Let's go downstairs to Andre Knott. You staying cool down there?
Well, the hats that are being worn by all the players, if you look up closely, it's got the stars and stripes on it in the red for each side and the teams. Now, inside the Indians dugout, things were a little different because Jason Kipnis didn't want to wear exactly what they wanted him to. They were supposed to wear red socks and blue underneath. He said, I want to wear red and blue, and after an executive decision with the team, they decided that's what they're going with. Now, there's some people inside the clubhouse, his first name Tony, that aren't that happy about that right now.
Well, yeah, who's going to suffer?
It's an individual expression.
Well, it's hard to dress the ball players. They're going to dress themselves. They're in their locker. You can put whatever you want in there, but you know how superstitious some may be.
Yeah.
They got the hats. They got the jerseys. That's all well and good.
Francisco Cervelli, a big swing, and he comes up empty 0-2. Cervelli batted .377 in the month of May. That was the best in the National League. You don't think of Francisco Cervelli as being a guy that could get on that kind of an offensive tear, but boy, did he ever.
Well, the one thing he does have a short swing, and that was real short.
I was just going to say, that was as short as you can get right there.
That's right. He was trying to check his swing there, but he went down as a strikeout victim. So you just take a look. He wanted to try and stop it, but no, it was down, and he couldn't check his swing. Live Indians baseball is back in 2015 with MLB.com at bat on your smartphone or tablet. Stay connected with live radio broadcast stats, breaking news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball.
First ball swinging. Polanco with a routine fly ball to left. And the Buccos go 1-2-3. And after 2, we have no score in Pittsburgh.
Third inning here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. How many hot dogs the guy just went?
A year's supply.
A year's supply.
Now, you have to ask, what is that?
Yeah,
because how many do you eat a
is
day?
that a pack a week?
Right, right. I
Pack a
mean,
month?
how many dogs can you eat?
They just had a little contest here while we were away, and guy won a little grill and a year's supply of hot dogs.
I mean, what happens if you're that guy that participates in that hot dog eat-off every July 4th? He'd have to have caseloads.
A year's supply wouldn't last him a week. Mike Aviles takes takes a called strike. Looked low.
From up here, everything looks slow.
Yeah. Aviles with a roller to short. Jordy Mercer throws him out, 1 down. It's time now for yesterday's great clip of the game. Trevor Bauer, he had a lot of fun during his at-bat. He imitated Mike Aviles. He imitated Ryan Rayburn. Even Jason Kipnis. He said, well, look, I figured they were going to pinch hit for me, so I just did it for him. I pinch hit 3 guys for myself.
You know, the thing of it is, he was up there enjoying himself, but he ended up putting up a really quality at-bat is the bottom line.
And he even said afterwards, he goes, you know, if we were getting beat, if we were down, it's not something I probably would have done. But
I loved it. I think it was entertaining, and everybody in that dugout loved it.
Now, Cody Anderson says he hasn't stepped in a batter's box since 2009.
That's okay.
So he's a little nervous about this at bat.
Well, the first one usually is. You know, that heart's going to be racing a little bit. You're trying to pick up the baseball, but it's like riding a bike, Cody.
Swing and a miss, and he goes down swinging. 2 down.
It's all right. Go back to pitching.
Well, and that's kind of what Trevor said. He goes, nobody's expecting me to go up there and get a hit, so I'm going to try to have some fun. And he ended up having a good at bat.
And that's the way you look at it. You don't expect the pitchers to do anything. Anything they do, even if they put it in play, it's almost like a surprise. Just keep getting them out.
Oh, nice curveball. Drops in for a strike. And Jeff Lott gets ahead 0-2.
Starting to settle in a little bit, isn't he? That slow stuff, back-to-back curveballs.
Tries to go with a fastball up and away. First time through the order. Indians had 2 singles against Lott. 1 batter reached when he was hit by a pitch. That was Kipnis. And now Kipnis waves at a breaking ball in the dirt. Cervelli throws him out to end the inning. Cleveland goes 1-2-3 for the first time today. No score, middle of the 3rd. To enjoy a cold one, to stay tuned for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Bottom of the third, Jordy Mercer, the pitcher Jeff Locke, and the leadoff man Josh Harrison due up. Mercer in his last 7 games has 13 hits and 29 at bats.
He hit the ball well last night. Didn't have much to show for it. Lined out to right field. You remember Murphy made a nice fine running catch on a ball that almost got over his head. He's been swinging it well. 6 multi-hit games in his last 11. The Pirates as a team have been swinging the bat well.
One ball, 2 strikes. Out of play on the right side. Pittsburgh got off to a fairly good start. They were 12-10 at the end of April, but they started May by losing 5 in a row. Then they won 5 out of 6, scuffled, finished the month winning 8 out of 10, and then started June by going 13-3 to begin the month.
Wow.
And they have just been able to ride that wave. Low, 2-2.
Yeah, for the Indians, it's been the exact opposite. They got off to a slow start, 7-14, then they go 17-12. And then 11-16. But July has been good so far.
Hard hit ball into right field. And the Pirates leadoff man is aboard for the 2nd time today. Injury report brought to you by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Miguel Cabrera with the calf strain. He's going to be out at least a month, maybe up to a month and a half.
It's hard to believe it's only the first time he's been on the DL.
He played through a lot of pain and injuries.
He played through the last couple of years.
This must have been really bad.
Well, he was taken off on a 3-2 pitch. It was when Martinez was hitting. I don't know if you saw the replay, and he just came up hobbling between first and
it's going to be a balk on Anderson. He was on the rubber when he dropped the ball. And that'll put Mercer in the scoring position. And now Jeff Locke will try to bunt him to third. Well, that's reminiscent of the playoffs here a few years ago.
Cueto? In
the wild card game when Johnny Cueto was being serenaded by the Pirates fans, and he dropped the ball in a similar situation.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Locke can get his job done.
They pinch at the corners.
Charging.
And then he fouls it back, 0-1. Locke is just 2 for 22 as a hitter.
Here's 2 sacrifices. And he squares around right at the chute. If you're Santana, go ahead and charge from that side. Usually at third, you sort of wait to see if it's coming your way before you give up ground.
Yeah, he takes the strike when he pulled the bat back. It's 0-2. You expect him to still square here, don't you? 0-2?
Oh, absolutely. I do. They do that in the National League. He can't hit, so you might as well move the runner, square around, and let's go.
He takes it, just missed inside.
A lot of times you try to throw the high fastball here. It's a tough pitch to get on the ground and then pop it up a lot, and that's what you like to see.
Mercer square, or the Locke squares. He gets
job.
It down.
It's all right.
Anderson will take the out at first. So on a 2-strike pitch, Mercer is sacrificed to third by Locke.
That's where you can really help yourself in the National League if you're a pitcher. I don't care if it takes you 3 chances to get it done. Get the job done. You move the runner up 90 feet. Now you give that offense an opportunity to drive him in. Job well done.
So we go to the top of the order now, and Josh Harrison. Harrison doubled to start the game. He went to third with 1 out, but the Pirates couldn't get him home. Harrison jumped on the first pitch he saw from Cody Anderson and doubled down the left field line. This time he takes ball 1. Last 20 games coming into today, Harrison batting at a .329 clip. Chops it to third. Urshela with a great backhanded stab. He'll run him back, and he tags him right in front of the plate for out number 2.
I don't think that could have worked out any better for the Indians, because Mercer at third base really couldn't do anything because the ball was hit. So he's trying to come in to score, and then you'll see the backhand here.
If Mercer had gone back to the bag, he'd have been out.
Right. He had no choice. He had nothing he could do there. Try to get caught in the rundown on the backhand. This will be our McDonald's. I'm loving it. And there you go. You get the out. You take him out of scoring position, and you trade runners. 1 at third. He's gone. Give him 1 at first.
So up comes Neil Walker with 2 down. A ground out his first time up. Bit outside, 1-0. In 18 innings of work now for Cody Anderson, he's given up just 10 hits.
You know, he's been fun to watch because he's been aggressive, and I'll tell you, the Indians have needed a number 5 starter all year long. The way T.J. House started out this year, he got off to a horrendous start, and then they tried a couple other guys. Chen, Sean Markham, never really worked out, although Markham had a couple of good games. But boy, Anderson comes in, and boom, his first 2 starts have been great, and he's working on a third good one.
Kipnis throws him out to end the inning, so the Pirates' inability to execute hampers them so far today. Cody Anderson scoreless through 3. Scores. We go to the 4th inning here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, and Yan Gomes to bat for the Indians. Clint Hurdle, who is the manager of the Pirates, and has taken his club to the postseason the last couple of years. He came in yesterday and he said, I hear this is the most important series of the year. He said, I heard that a couple of times walking in from some Pirates employees. They said, hey, great job in Detroit, but you really need to win these games.
I think they're talking about some bragging rights there.
No love lost between Cleveland and Pittsburgh. Really never has been. The 0-1 pitch. And Lindor with a hard grounder to short. Mercer throws him out. One away. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use the hashtag STO@StrongFan and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's go down to Andre.
You know, Clint Hurdle also said something that was very interesting before yesterday's game. He says, you know, the Indians are very cutting edge with a lot of things. He goes, so much so that we take a lot of what they do and we do it over here. Now, we know Neil Huntington is their GM,
right,
but he went out of his way to say the Indians are a cutting edge franchise, especially when it comes to pitching, and that they've been paying very close attention to what the Indians do on and off the field.
Well, they've done a very nice job themselves turning this franchise around. Kind of a floating ground ball off the bat of Brantley.
Looked like it was in slow motion, didn't it?
2 away. I mean, this is a franchise that essentially had been dormant until 2 years ago when they got into the postseason.
They were a lot like Kansas City.
Very much so.
You know what I mean? Kansas City was from '85. It was '90s for the Pirates.
Yeah.
You know, until you get back to the playoffs. But Kansas City last year going to the last out in the World Series has really propelled that organization back.
Well, the Pirates made it to the wild card 2 years ago, beat Cincinnati, and then lost in the
San Francisco. Who was it?
St. Louis beat
St.
them.
Louis.
Yeah.
That's right. 1-2. St. Louis.
And then last year they lost the wild card game to San Francisco, right? Yeah. So yeah, Madison Bumgarner, right, came in and just blew them away.
Right. But, I mean, it has turned the people around here to believe that this is a good team, which it is. Pirates are a fun team to watch. They got some very good young players. But they do it pitching-wise. They got the second best ERA at home in the National League. They pitch very well in this ballpark. You can see why. It's a good park to pitch in.
2-1 pitch. Gomes with a liner to left right at Marte, who comes in and makes the catch. And again, the Indians are retired 1, 2, 3, and that's 7 straight set down by left-hander Jeff Locke.
Indians will host the Oakland A's Friday, July 10th. You can enjoy the Trans Am Rock fireworks. It's presented by Wayside Furniture. Just visit Indians.com for your tickets.
We head to the bottom of the fourth here in Pittsburgh. 3, 4, 5 hitters due up for the Pirates. Andrew McCutchen will lead it off, struck out. His first and only time up. And he takes low, ball 1. Fouled right back.
Big strikeout for Cody Anderson in the first inning, getting McCutchen. Got him on a couple of changeups to swing and miss.
Ripped between third and short. And McCutchen is aboard with a leadoff single for the Pirates here in the fourth. So 3 out of the 4 innings, Rick, they've had their leadoff man aboard.
Yeah, he picked on a slider right here. Breaking ball that he's going to find the hole. That one looked like it was middle of the plate. Didn't locate that ball as well, so he finds a hole between short and third. McCutchen, you know, you think of the speed for McCutchen. He's only stolen 5 out of 7 bases. It's not many attempts for him.
Starling Marte will back with the leadoff man aboard here in the fourth inning. Marte flied to center, his first and only time up. You saw our Levin Furniture player profile on Marte. He's really one of the first products of the Pirates' renewed commitment in the scouting area of Latin America. He was signed back in 2007. Won the MVP of the Pirates Rookie League the following year. Got to the big leagues and hit a home run on the first pitch he saw.
That? Off of Dallas Keuchel.
Down the left field line, but he pulls it foul.
Speaking of Keuchel, we'll see him Monday when we go home. It'll be, what a matchup that's going to be, Carrasco against Keuchel.
Yeah.
Starting that 4-game series off back in Cleveland, heading into the break.
Swing and a miss.
Tied him up.
2 years ago, Marte's first full season in the big leagues, he got off to an incredible start. He was in the leadoff spot. He reached base in 29 out of the Pirates' first 32 games. It was the best start by a Pirate leadoff hitter since Lloyd Wainer in 1931.
Well, I was going to say, I don't remember that name.
He went on to the Hall of Fame. Has to be one of the few brother combinations to reach the Hall of Fame. Lloyd and Paul Wainer, known as Little Poison and Big Poison. Pulls it foul.
I want to send along our congratulations to Paul and Dorothy Compier, celebrating their 61st wedding anniversary. Congratulations. Have a very happy July 4th.
Marte putting up a good at bat here. 2-2 the count. Right at Lindor. Goes to second. There's one on the first. Close, but not in time.
That happened last night. Same guy going down the line in the mud.
He is tough to double up.
Yes, he is. But, you know, Lindor, they did turn it nicely. That ball, he had to range to his right. He had to go to the backhand side. A little longer of a throw for him over to Kipnis. They tried to turn it, but in back-to-back nights, Marte beats it out.
Yeah, if that's a one-hop right at him,
right,
then they turn it.
Yep. That's hard to turn when you have, you got to take a step or two when you can get down the line, even if you are coming from the right side of the plate.
Here is Pedro Alvarez.
But Marte has 16 stolen bases out of 22 attempts. You may say him take off.
years ago, Pedro Alvarez came to Cleveland and wrecked the joint. He homered
did.
twice in back-to-back games against the Indians.
I remember that well. He's a good low ball hitter. And he can hit it out any part of the ballpark, anywhere.
Boy, that time, Rick, it looked like Marte was going to go, and he may have stumbled, lost his footing, and just put the brakes on.
Well, that's what you do when you're a base stealer. If you're going to run and you go out there and you don't really get a good jump, or you feel your foot slip or something, you'll just hold up. And it looked like that's what he did.
Give it a ride, Pedro.
High fly ball. Shallow left field. Backpedaling is the third baseman, Urshela, who went into shallow left to make the catch for out number 2. Time for a Mazda game break. Here's Al Pawlowski.
Well, they got a lot more to go without him, too. But that J.D. Martinez has been hot. He had a great month of June and carrying it over into the month of July.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting to see how they cope without him long term.
They won't fill that void. Not with him in the middle of the lineup. Out.
Well, you look at it one of two ways, Rick. Either they're going to struggle mightily, or we've seen this happen before. Guys know a player's out, a key player's out, and everybody else sort of raises their game up.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to do that, and I still don't think they're going to be able to score enough runs without him.
Keeping a close eye on Marte with 2 down. He looked like he was itching to go with Alvarez at the plate on a couple of occasions. And with 2 outs, not a bad time to try and steal. Takes off. Swing and a miss. Throw it down by Gomes. They got him.
Nice.
Gomes to Kipnis, who slaps the tag on Marte. He's caught for the 7th time this year trying to steal. And the inning is over. 4 complete. No score in Pittsburgh.
Your Northern Ohio Honda dealers. By the Cleveland Clinic. Call for an appointment today. And by the game-changing all-new Ford F-150. The future is tough.
The incline there in Pittsburgh. Just across the river. Take you up to the top of Mount Washington with some incredible views of this downtown area. No score. We roll on to the 5th inning, and it will be Carlos Santana, Giovanni Urshela, and Brandon Moss due up for the Tribe. Jeff Locke has retired 7 in a row. Bounces it foul. 1-1.
He's giving him a little more turn before he's going to deliver. Try and get him out of the stretch a little bit more. He's last 2 innings has had 1, 2, 3 innings. They had 2 hits back in the second.
Got in on him, popped it to left field. Marte fighting the sun, having a tough time with it, makes the catch. He dropped almost down to a knee.
Well, you can tell that sun is right over the first base dugout. You see the light standards out there in the at first base in the outfield. So the left fielder's looking right up into the sun. So he has the glasses on. He's shading his eyes, and boy, that's a battle. If you've never done it, trying to look up into the sky, it's pretty much a crystal clear blue sky. And then you have that sun to deal with. It's awfully tough to pick up the baseball.
Giovanni Urshela, the last Indian to reach in this game with a base hit back in the 2nd inning. Extending his hitting streak to 13 games. He's gone 13 for 42 during his streak. Spins him out of the way.
He's pitched just enough inside to these guys to stay with that changeup away. See if he goes back to that. Yeah, there it is, the changeup. He shows you inside, he brushes you back inside, and then he wants to go right back out and use the outside part of the plate.
A little bit low. Tried to get him to chase. Wouldn't do it.
And that's the thing about a pitcher like Jeff Locke. You have to remain patient.
Again, same pitch, a little bit. This time was a fastball, but at the same location, trying to get him to either hit one into the ground.
You know, that fastball is a little more than I thought. He has 91 to 93 on the fastball. And then that changeup's about 80. Look out.
Swung on and missed. The bat goes flying. Just beyond the Pirates' dugout.
Pretty good throw right there.
And that's out number 2.
3rd strikeout for Locke, and you could just see the bat come flying out. It was a fastball right there. There it goes.
With 2 down, Brandon Moss, the batter, grounded out to 3rd, his only time up. It's a little weak ground ball to 1st. And again, the Indians go quietly. Jeff Locke is cruising. Middle of the 5th, no score.
Santana bobblehead as the Indians will host the Houston Astros out of Progressive Field. That'll take place Wednesday, July 8th. 10,000 fans will get the bobblehead of Santana. Visit Indians.com for your tickets.
Gotta respect a guy who comes to the plate with a Dean Martin walk-up song. Are you kidding me?
That's right up your alley, isn't it?
Bounce to third. Urshela throws him out on one pitch. He's going to bring up Gregory Polanco with one out here in the 5th inning. I think we beat this up enough. Here's our Buick stat of the game. Home and road, different team.
Yeah, they have been, and although the runs per game aren't any big difference, but the pitching has been unbelievably much better on the road.
Home runs is hard to figure, too. I mean, I know sometimes Progressive Field is more of a pitcher's park, but it's quite a disparity. 16 home runs different.
It's hard to figure out. We're just going to stay on the road then. We're not coming home.
Send the bobbleheads and the hot dogs and the fireworks on the road. Gregory Polanco trying to get his season turned around. He has been in a free fall since starting off like a house of fire. Batted 200 in June. 0 for 4 so far in this series.
I'll tell you, Cody Anderson is coming out doing another nice job. The Pirates, 3 out of the 4 first innings, they had their leadoff man aboard, but he's continuing to pound the strike zone. He's been able to get out of it every time. 49 pitches, 35 strikes.
The 1-2 pitch. Polanco just did get a piece of that. Popped. Back goes the shortstop Lindor. 2 down. Good on Andre.
You know, the one thing about Cody Anderson, when you talk to different people about him around the organization, they talk about poise. And one thing the Pirates have done this year, despite not scoring a lot of runs, they've won 9 of 14 games and averaged 5 runs a game when facing rookie starters. So far, Cody Anderson's been able to stay out of trouble and dodge it when it's come his way.
Yeah, he's made the pitches when he's had to make them, Andre. They had opportunities twice with runners on third base, less than 2 outs, and he's been able to get out of it both times.
Jordy Mercer, a base hit his last time up. Takes a strike. Bats with 2 down here in the 5th inning.
It's good ways.
No score. Bottom of the 5th. Indians are trying to run their win streak to 6 games, which would equal their season high. Pirates trying to even this series. A win would give the Indians their first ever series win here at PNC Park, and a chance at a sweep tomorrow.
Well, you certainly want the win today because you're facing a tough one tomorrow. Garrett Cole.
Boy, terrific play by Giovanni Urshela to end the inning as the Pirates are retired in order 1-2-3. Well, grab some friends and catch a game at the new Corner Bar, which is open to all fans at Progressive Field. $13 district tickets presented by Sports Time Ohio are going quickly. So get yours today. Available only at Indians.com/district tickets. No score here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. We go to the 6th inning. Mike Aviles, Cody Anderson, Jason Kipnis due up for the try.
Well, both these pitchers dealing. I don't know if it's because they had such a long night last night or whatever, but they're both throwing strikes, making it look pretty easy here this afternoon. Only 5 hits in the game between both clubs.
Aviles grounded out his only time up in the 3rd. Mike has batted .296 on the road this year coming into today's game.
Right here, buddy. Right here.
Chops it to 3rd, and it goes foul right in front of the bag. Aviles was the hero in the series finale against Tampa when the game went to extra innings. He led off the 10th with a home run.
First pitch, home run.
And then Cody Allen made it stand up after Corey Kluber had struck out 14 Tampa Bay hitters. Almost hit him. And 2-2. You know, I posed the question at the outset of our telecast, and I know it's a little bit like the chicken and the egg, but you do wonder, is it the hitting that has enabled the pitching to settle in because they've scored 5 runs a game during this current 5-game win streak, or has it been the other way around?
Well, I'll tell you, what I think is they've been able to get early leads and score first.
Yeah.
And then that pitching goes out there. But right now it's 0-0. So both pitchers are, they're battling each other right now. That's why it makes a difference to both teams. And we gave you both numbers. Indians with 26 wins when they score first. Pirates with 27. So both teams are looking for that. We may have to pinch hit Bauer here. He can go up. You can use him as a number of guys.
Cody said he hadn't stepped into a batter's box since '09. He was a little uneasy about the idea. And he's down on strikes. 2 down here in the 6th inning. Our in-game recap brought to you by the local Toyota dealers. It's been all pitching here this afternoon. Indians hit into a couple of double plays in the first 2 innings, and since then Jeff Locke has literally locked them down.
Yeah, he has.
Cody Anderson has had to work around a couple of big leadoff hits. He's stranded 2 runners at 3rd base. Neither pitcher has given in.
Well, Locke, we told you, 5-1 in 8 interleague starts, and he's pitched against the White Sox this year and Minnesota. He had a no decision against Minnesota. He beat the White Sox.
One ball, 1 strike. Kipnis was going to try to beat the shift with a bunt. They had just put the true overshift on when the count went to 1-1.
Yeah, they were waiting to 2 strikes, and that was the right idea. Right over the bag.
It's foul, says first base umpire Angel Hernandez.
There have not been many balls hit hard off Locke this afternoon. It's like another sellout today, huh?
Sure does.
Great crowd. They had their 7th last night. Looks like they're going to have number 8 today.
Took a little something off, and Jeff Locke strikes out the side in the 6th. Gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Our coverage of the 2015 All-Star Game begins Tuesday, July 14th. So a week from this coming Tuesday, 7 Eastern on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Jeff Locke will lead it off for Pittsburgh. The Pirates pitcher fouls it back. Laid down a sacrifice bunt his first time up on a 2-strike pitch.
Yeah, he did his job moving the runner, Mercer, over to third base with less than 2 outs, but they couldn't get him home.
Foul right back.
Cody Anderson was locked into a 0-0 game his first start against the Rays back in Cleveland. Remember, he went 7 2/3 innings in that game and left, and it was tied 0-0. Well, here you go again. He's back, locked in another one.
Pass to the second baseman, Jason Kipnis. One away here in the 6th inning. Here's our AT&T U-verse rewind. Giovanni Urshela at the hot corner today. Made a key play here with a runner at third base. Gloved it, ran him back, tagged out Jordy Mercer. And then on the charge, he gathered and flipped.
It's been pretty smooth over there at third base since his call up. Looked very good.
Right now, Jordy Mercer is looking for anybody else on the diamond because it was Mercer who was the victim on both of those plays by Urshela. Top of the order, Josh Harrison looks at a ball down low. Harrison's one of those players that I think makes it tough for scouts because he has the intangibles that maybe don't show on a field. Drives this one pretty well, deep center field. Brantley's going to watch it hit off the wall. And he's into second base with a leadoff double, his second of the game. And he just missed hitting one out of here.
Boy, you're right. That ball hit off the wall. I watched Brantley go over there. But, you know, he stopped quickly enough where that ball came right back to him, so he didn't get a triple, which was a good thing because that thing went a long way. Let's see where it hits, and it comes right back to Michael on one hop. A couple of feet away from going out. He bare hands it, gets it in. So now he is on second. His 20th double, second double of the day.
It's one of those plays for an outfielder. How do you know when to go for the catch if it's going to cost you maybe a limb?
It would have cost him at least a base too if he goes back there and doesn't catch it. I don't think he would have caught it. he was smart enough to just pull up and let it ball come back to him.
Fourth hit of the game for Pittsburgh. And now Neil Walker 0 for 2 takes a strike. But going back to Harrison, you know, the one thing about him is that, you know, he's in the leadoff spot. He's not a burner.
Right.
He has what Clint Hurdle, and I love this, he says he has what you call usable speed.
Well, you can go first to third. You can go second to home. You know, you're not going to steal a lot of bases.
In the hole by Santana. Harrison around third. He will score, and the Pirates take the lead. Neil Walker's 31st RBI on the year, and that extends his hitting streak to 8 games. 1-0 Pittsburgh here in the 6th.
All right, so with one out, the third time through the lineup, the Pirates able to cash in. The double by Harrison. Walker gets the base hit. Looked like it might have been a breaking ball. Gets it past Santana into the hole to right field. So Walker is 31st RBI. Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead.
Now Andrew McCutchen with 2 on and 1 out. Down low. McCutchen extended his hitting streak to 11 games with a base hit in the 4th inning. One ball, one strike. 1 on, 1 out. McCutchen in the hole, a ball and 2 strikes. Cody Anderson has given up only his 2nd run of the season in 21 innings of work. And it Gomes hold it?
No, could not hold on to it. Got him to swing, foul it off, but it's straight down. No chance. It didn't even go. I thought it went near the glove, but it did not. Right down into his shin guard.
Slowly chopped to Lindor. He'll go to second to get the force there. 2 down. And up comes Starling Marte. How about that, though, if you're Cody Anderson, the start to your big league career, you've got 21 innings. He's given up 2 runs.
Yeah. Oh, he's been terrific. He's really been fun to watch. I mean, for a guy we never heard of him, you heard he was, you know, competitive and things like that. But when you're in the minor leagues, we don't get a chance to see him. We just hear some reports or read the numbers they put up. But you get to the major leagues a little different.
Yeah, you never know how those numbers translate.
No, it's a big separation between minor leagues and Major League Baseball nowadays, much more so than it used to be.
We have seen guys who put up great numbers in the minor leagues come up to the big leagues and ooh.
Whether you're a hitter or a pitcher, you'd be hitting 340 down there, you know, killing the ball. 380, 390, you come up and you can't buy a hit. And also guys that have been dealing pitching wise, and you know, or they have been pitching poorly and they come up here and do well.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
1 ball and 1 strike for Marte, who is 0 for 2. Pulls that foul.
Changeup's been a really good pitch for him today. He's had a lot of Pirate hitters out in front and swing and miss. Be the time to run here. 1-2.
Got him to reach for it. Just kind of rolls it to short, and the inning is over. Pirates get a run on 2 hits, and after 6, it's Pittsburgh 1 and Cleveland 0. By Kia. Visit mykiacleveland.com to learn more. By Levin Mattress, located in all Levin furniture and freestanding locations. And by AT&T Uverse, has more channels on the go than cable. Well, here we are in the 7th inning in a 1-0 ball game. Story has been pitching. Pirates just broke through against Cody Anderson for the game's only run. Jeff Locke, meanwhile, has retired 13 Indians in order. And Francisco Lindor leads off the 7th. He's 0 for 2.
All 6 of his strikeouts have come from the 3rd inning on. He had the double play ball working in inning number 1 and 2. But boy, not many balls hit hard off the Indians' bats today.
And a foul right back by Lindor. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lindor, Michael Brantley, and Yan Gomes for the Tribe here in the 7th. Both bullpens quiet. Up and in, close, full count.
A lot of times he's followed it up with change-ups away after going up and in. Off the plate, going back in.
Chopped over the mound. Walker on the run, throws him out. 1 down. In honor of Independence Day, Fox Sports proudly supports Folds of Honor and its mission of providing educational scholarships to families of military members who have been killed or disabled while serving our country. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. 1 out for Michael Brantley, who twice has grounded out. And 2 quick strikes on Brantley. "50 out of 73 pitches have been strikes today for Locke." And Brantley can't get much on it. 2 down. There just haven't been any hard hit balls. You go back to the single by Yan Gomes in the 2nd inning. He line one to right center. Urshela banged the base hit between 3rd and short. Outside of that, there just haven't been many balls hit hard off Locke today.
12 ground ball outs. He has 6 strikeouts, so there's 18 of the outs right there. He's been dealing. He's kept them off balance. He's changing speeds. He's moved it in and out, and he's kept them way off stride.
Yan Gomes 1 out of 2 with that base hit back in the 2nd inning. And all of a sudden he's Iron Mike. It's just strike, strike, strike.
He you know what? In that 3rd inning, after he got the double play balls, he started to settle down and really he got a feel for his breaking ball and moving it in and out. And he shows the fastball right there, up and in. And then he's just been pounding it with his off-speed pitches. He's been very good at doing it.
Gomes shoots one foul down the right side.
He pitched 8 innings against the Brewers. That was back in April, where he gave up 4 hits and 1 run through 99 pitches. That's the longest he's gone on the year. Well, he's into the 7th right now with 2 outs. And he's at 77 pitches.
Gomes wouldn't chase it. Now the 2-2. Gomes with a liner to left field. And Marte runs it down. 16 in a row set down by the Pirate left-hander Jeff Locke, as Pittsburgh maintains a 1-0 lead here in the 7th inning. Boy, he has been terrific today for the Pirates. And on this special 4th of July holiday edition of Cleveland Indians baseball, we pause now for the playing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam.
Time now for the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Spitzer Auto World. as we move to the bottom of the 7th here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Don't forget to stay tuned for Indians Live, presented by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care, coming up next. Pedro Alvarez, Francisco Cervelli, and Gregory Polanco due for the Buccos here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Pedro Alvarez is 0 for 2. He's hit in 7 of his last 9 games, but the Indians have handcuffed him so far. He's gone 0 for 6. Oh man, that changeup has been devastating.
It's been very good for him today. The Indians with 2 more road interleague series. After the break, you see the changeup there. He swings and misses. Well, go to Cincinnati for a weekend series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Have an off day and then head to Milwaukee and play 2 games, and that'll be it on the road.
Alvarez is down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Cody Anderson. 1 away here in the 7th inning.
Well, I mean, he just made it look easy in that at-bat again. He pounds the changeup down and away. He gets him to swing over the top of it. That's going to be our Circle K strikeout. You can see the movement going down, going away. He's given up 5 hits. With the double by Harrison and then a big base hit by Walker. The only run of the ball game.
And he did a terrific job in the 1st and 3rd innings to keep the Pirates from getting runs when they had a leadoff double in the 1st. And base hit and he had a balk. Remember the balk?
Yep.
And then a sacrifice to 3rd. So he had runners at 3rd base in the 1st and 3rd innings with only 1 out. He did not give up a run. (2-0) to Francisco Cervelli, and takes a strike. He didn't like the call, but that ball clearly dissected the plate over the outer 3rd. That's low, and it's 3-1. Center field, and that'll be a leadoff single, or a 1-out single for Cervelli here in the 7th inning.
You talked about he's only given up 14 hits now in his 22 innings of pitching. It's only Walker.
Yeah.
So you know what? He hasn't given any free base runners. So if you're going to hit him, and he still has less hits than innings pitched, then that's the way to do it. Right there, he wasn't going to give in to Cervelli. 3-1 pitch. So but here you go. He got a base hit, but he didn't walk him. So he hit his way on.
Well, he's been able to get the ground ball. The Indians have yet to turn a double play behind him, but they've had a couple of opportunities. Polanco 0 for 2. He's hit the ball in the air twice today. And he turns away from a pitch in there for a strike.
There it is.
Kipnis
Not hit hard enough.
to Lindor, and that's all they'll get.
Yeah, Cervelli did a nice job taking the feet away from Lindor, and it just wasn't hit hard enough. Again, it was a 2, maybe 3 hopper that they had to try and turn. And once it took that extra hop, no matter if Kipnis does. Now watch Cervelli. You know, he could have reached the bag right there, but you just take the feet away from the shortstop. Good slide.
Brings up Jordy Mercer. The 0-1. Jam job over the bag at second. Kipnis long flip to Lindor to end the inning. 7 on the books. It's Pittsburgh 1 and Cleveland nothing.
Is presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Tell you what, folks, when those military jets did the flyover before the ball game began here at PNC Park, we are literally located on the top of PNC Park. And I don't know about you, but it felt like they flew right through us.
It's pretty cool. Yes, it was.
It was a pretty awesome experience indeed.
Let me ask you, if you could ever have a chance to ride in one of those, would you?
Yes.
I absolutely would. That would be fun.
I probably wouldn't remember. I'd probably be passed out.
Well, you would. Either that or if you don't eat before you go.
Yeah. Sean Rodriguez takes over at first base. So Clint Hurdle going for his defense here with a 1-0 lead in the 8th inning.
Boy, what a well-pitched game by both guys. Jeff Locke, Cody Anderson locked in a beauty. Indians only 2 hits, both of them coming back in the second inning. They got their base hit. He got Santana to ground into the double play. And then Urshela got the base hit, and that's been it. No other base runners.
Kind of a rare spot for Jeff Locke. He's behind 2-0. Santana blisters one foul. That's a good swing on a 2-0 pitch for Santana. Finally getting out in front of one.
Well, it's pretty much what he was going to do with it, but it was an off-speed pitch.
It's hit right back up the middle, but look who's standing there. Neil Walker, second baseman, throws him out. Great defense, great positioning. And the Indians have one out here in the 8th inning. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. They're back on the 4th of July in 06. Indians got loose with the long ball. Giovanni Urshela has singled and struck out. The single extended his hitting streak to 13 games. High pop. Is it playable? It is caught by Rodriguez. 2 down. just comes into the game.
Yeah, well, you don't know if Alvarez would have had that ball or not, but it's still a nice play. That was a high fly ball, and I heard someone yelling down there, "You got room, you got room." I don't know if that was a fan or who, but he was nowhere in sight near anybody.
So 2 outs for Brandon Moss. Moss has grounded out twice today. And a foul right back. No balls and 2 strikes. Two down on the 8th in the 0-2 pitch. Lined at Rodriguez. And again, the Indians go in order. A couple of hard hit balls, still nothing to show for it. 19 in a row retired by Locke. Locke went 8 dynamite innings. He retired the last 19 Indians hitters in a row. Anytime you pitch shutout baseball, it's impressive, but to go 2-hit shutout baseball against an Indians club that was starting to find itself offensively and was really swinging the bats well. Really impressive today.
Retired his last 19 hitters. I'll say he did a whale of a job. Tied the second time this year he's gone 8 innings.
Jung Ho Kang leading off for the Pirates as a pinch hitter here in the 8th inning. Kang looks at the ball up high. 2-1. Josh Harrison waits on deck, then Neil Walker. How about this? In the last 100 years, only Gene Bearden in 1948 has gone at least 7 innings and allowed 1 run or less in each of his first 3 major league starts as an Indian.
No kidding.
So Cody Anderson has put himself in some very select company as he strikes out Kang to start this 8th inning. That's his 4th. strikeout of the afternoon.
Now, season tickets offer the best perks, including savings and access to Tribe Rewards. Today's Tribe Rewards TV code is Carrasco. Visit Indians.com, season tickets for complete details.
Mike Pata asked the guys at Stats Inc. to dig through the archives, and they came up with only Bearden.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, if it stays like this, he's going to be 1-1.
Yeah,
doing that.
Think about that.
That's the unfortunate thing. Could very easily be 3-0, but if the Indians don't score, it's going to be 1-1.
There's a little note at the bottom of your comments. It says, see Corey Kluber.
Yeah.
Mike Aviles on the run, deep left center, makes the catch, 2 down. In the live ball era since 1920, according to Stats Inc., only 5 pitchers have gone at least 7 innings and allowed 1 or fewer runs in each of their first 3 major league games. And the last guy to do it was Rich Harden back in 03 with Oakland.
With Oakland? Yeah, okay. Had arm problems in his career that ended up costing him, but he's going to get out of this. Pitch 8.
Brantley over in the right center, makes the catch. Cody Anderson goes 8 innings today, gives up 1 run. Now it's time for the Indians bats to come alive. Danny Salazar and Garrett Cole will match up. Then it's the Women's World Cup final on Fox. Coverage begins there at 5 Eastern on your local Fox station, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Time now for the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen. Mark Melancon will come on for Pittsburgh to pitch the 9th inning. He is the Pirates' closer, and he has notched 25 saves on the year with an earned run average of 1.66 in 38 innings of work. He walked 7 and struck out 26. They'll have Mike Aviles. Well, it looks like already we're going to get a pinch hitter for Aviles as Michael Bourne has moved to the on-deck circle. Then David Murphy looks like he'll bat for the pitcher.
Yeah, Melancon leads the National League in saves, as you mentioned, with 25. He's converted his last 23 in a row. And the record for most consecutive saves in one season is 26. That's by Joel Anaheim back in 2011. So he's looking for number 24 in a row today and 26 on the year, but he's going to have to go through all left-handers to do it.
Bourne, Murphy, and then Jason Kipnis.
If the Indians can get on that board, boy, Cody Anderson, just another gem for him. 3 straight.
So here we go. A crowd of 37,928. Back-to-back sellouts for the Pirates here at PNC Park. Their 7th and 8th sellouts of the season. On an absolutely beautiful 4th of July. Michael Bourne was big for the Indians last night. Bourne drove in a run with a double in the 4th, drove in 2 runs with a single in the 8th, hooks it a ball up and away. After the game, he said it felt really good. He said, you guys know how it's been going for me this year. Most of all, I just want to be playing meaningful games in August. That's the goal. The Indians trying to fight their way back into this thing.
Always helps to get that leadoff man aboard. 1-run game especially with 3 outs to go.
A year ago, Melanson was 33 out of 37 in save opportunities. After saving 16 games the year before. Warren is rung up. He didn't like the call. 1 down. Take another look. Melanson, backdoor breaking ball. That was clearly low.
Well, there's no way you're going to hit that pitch. And yeah, he had a complaint.
Now here's David Murphy. I don't know how much tougher it is on the hitters. You see that shadow creeping out about 1/4 of the way between home plate and the pitcher's mound. Outside, ball 1. David Murphy has done a dynamite job in the pinch hitting role. 8 out of 23. 3 homers, 5 runs batted in. A weak ground ball hit to second. There have been a lot of those today. Melanson covers the bag for out number 2. It was weird, Rick. I saw the first baseman Rodriguez sort of peel off. Melanson must have said, I've got it all the way over here.
He's not normally a first baseman, but he's going in for Alvarez. He went after that ball. It's not knowing where your second baseman is at. You know what I mean? So he gave up his ground. The pitcher was very heads up to get over that.
Well, Jason Kipnis represents the last hope for the Tribe. With 2 outs in the 9th. And just about everybody is up on their feet. Inside, it's ball 1. Kipnis 0 for 5 so far in the series. He has walked twice and he's been hit by a pitch. But the Indians have been absolutely shut down by Pirate pitching today. Kipnis was hit by a pitch to start the game. The only other base runners came in the 2nd on singles by Gomes and Urshela. Two-0 pitch. Low and away. 3 balls and a strike. 320 down the right field line here in Pittsburgh. Melanson doesn't look like he's going to give Kipnis anything to pull, and he walks him, ball 4. So the tying run is aboard with 2 outs in the 9th inning.
Yeah, you're right. He was not going to give anything middle of the plate in for one swing to tie it up. He was going to make the perfect pitch away to see if Kipnis wanted to swing. If not, he'll go after the rookie here with 2 outs in the 9th.
Well, Francisco Lindor is 0 for 8 in the series.
Well, let's see if Melanson, how quick he is to the plate. Maybe Kipnis could try and steal a base where a base hit could tie the game. This is where you need a stolen base in situations like this with 2 outs.
Outside, ball 1.
Pretty quick to the plate, too, but.
Well, so almost looked like a quasi pitch out.
Yeah. He's been throwing everything away to the left hand. I don't know if that's a cutter or something, a little spinner on the back outside part of the plate to come in.
Lindor tries to shoot it the other way, but it's foul. And you count 1-1. Game on the line for the Indians. 2 outs in the 9th. They trail it 1-0. Kipnis representing their first base runner since the 2nd inning, snapping a string of 21 straight retired by the Pirates. Lindor looks at a called strike on the outside corner, and it's 1-2. Melanson's 1-2 pitch. Low and away, and that evens the count at 2-2.
Nice pitch.
Crowd of almost 38,000, all of them up, standing. With 2 outs and a runner at first, the tying run. The 2-2 to Lindor. Slowly chopped towards short. Long run for Mercer. He won't get it. Lindor is aboard with an infield single. And the tying run is in scoring position now with 2 outs.
Well, Lindor he took it. He was going to put the ball in play. He had to reach for it. That might have been the pitch they called Michael Brantley out on, but he had to try and do something. They were playing him a little more up the middle. You see where Mercer had to go to his backhanded side. Even if he fields it cleanly, he is not going to throw out Lindor. So now there's 2 runners on. Michael Brantley, your best RBI guy, coming to the plate. And a good opportunity for the Indians.
Well,
Give him a finish.
You got to love it.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything today offensively all day long. They've been shut down, but with 2 outs and the base is empty, they put 2 on. And now it comes down to Michael Brantley versus Mark Melanson. Brantley takes a first pitch strike. Though Brantley is hitless in the series, he has been one of the Indians' best over the last few years. He has driven in 19 runs over his last 40 games. '41 RBI, second on the team to Brandon Moss in that department. The 0-1.
Good pitch inside. Cutter in. Inside.
'30-year-old Mark Melanson. Close it out here in the 9th. And the 0-2 to Brantley. Slowly chopped towards first. Rodriguez with the flip, and Melancon's there, and the game is over. The Pirates hold on for a 1-0 win to even the series at a game apiece. It stops the Indians' win streak at 5 games. Indians now 38-42. Pittsburgh goes to 46-34. Jeff Locke the winner. He is 5-4. The save to Mark Melancon. It's his 26th on the year. You talk about a tough luck loser. Cody Anderson went 8 innings today and gave up 1 run. And he falls to 1-1 on the season. Time now for our Pat O'Brien play of the game.
Well, the only run of the ball game. Walker gets a base hit into right field after a double by Harrison. And there was a big hit, top of their order. That was a second double for Harrison. The only run of the ball game today as the Pirates go on to win it 1-0.
So the rubber match will come your way tomorrow afternoon here at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. The final day, Pittsburgh 1, Cleveland 0. We'll be back with some final thoughts right after this.